There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of a Nephilim. The Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of a Nephilim. Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Welcome to another episode of On the Trail of a Nephilim. We're going once again back down to Ollantaytambo in Peru, and with our good friend Andre Agassi, who's a archaeoastronomer, and we'll be talking about whether the Inca can actually carve andesite stone. We'll get into that and so much more. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Those who set their New Year's resolutions around health and beauty are helping collagen supplements grow in popularity. This supplement has trended recently as people look for ways to improve their skin, nail, hair, and joint health. The only collagen I recommend is the one I use daily, folks. This stuff is amazing. I use it every single day. It helps to reduce visible signs of aging, reduce wrinkles, and promotes a youthful complexion to the skin. Folks, you can get it now for a whopping 53% off, plus, very important person, live health and fitness coaching for life, a free ebook, and more with your order completely for free. Simply go to healthwithla.com. That's healthwithla.com. Once again, healthwithla.com. Folks, I take it every single morning. I take the neutral powder, put it in my coffee. I'm done for the day. healthwithla.com. So here's the clip I'm about to show you. And the idea that we're told from mainstream archaeology is that the Inca were master stonemasons, and they cut andesite stone through with a copper chisel. Is that true? Watch this clip. In my opinion, the entire site of Ollantaytambo, along with other sites in Peru, such as Sacsayhuaman, are completely out of place. Here is the clip showing what happens to the chisel. In my opinion, the entire site of Ollantaytambo, along with other sites in Peru, such as Sacsayhuaman, are completely out of place. Here is a clip showing what happens to the chisel. Andreas, here at Ollantaytambo, the stonework is incredible. Andesite stone, 7 on the most hardness scale. Some of the boulders, the megaliths up there, are as much as 50, 60 tons, perhaps even more. Your thoughts?
Right. Well, my thoughts, again, this is absolutely not from our age, right? This is coming from a really ancient age of people that could make details, and cut the stone like it's a butter.
Like
right?
it's butter, exactly.
Like it's butter. It's so soft, so well done that today is just impossible. So also taking from the quarry, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the river, to over here, right there, the biggest stone.
How was that done? No one knows.
No one knows. It was, some people tried to do it, tried some explorers, archaeologists, like Jean-Pierre Protestant. He makes a calculation, I remember. I suggest that book, it's really good. But anyway, he just can't tell how this was done.
Think about something. We know that fallen angel technology, I keep using that phrase, but when we go into the supernatural realm, specifically of the fallen angelic host of heaven, what we see are entities which are able to manipulate space-time, matter, and energy in ways that defy our modern physics. And I would suggest to you that that's exactly what we're looking at. Whoever these entities are, they are able to manipulate space, time, matter, and energy all at the same time. And the technology that created these walls no longer exists on this planet. It was taken when they left. So there you have it. We have a gentleman in over in Europe who sent me that picture. There's a block of andesite stone. There's a brand new copper chisel, and guess who wins? The andesite stone. So here's the rub. If you can't cut the andesite stone with a copper chisel, then you've got to rethink your paradigm. Then you've got to rethink your hypothesis, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You've got to come up with something else to show us how the Inca, the so-called master stone men and women, were able to cut the stone, cut and shape the andesite stone. So with that in mind, when we go over to Newark, Ohio, when we see the earthworks that are done there, which encompasses, like the Octagon Mound, basically encloses 50 acres of land. 50 acres of land. How did they do that? And it's an uneven octagon. And that whole octagon and circle mound, which is a gateway that links between them, and there's an observation platform. We show all this in the film, by the way. Number 8, on the Trail of a Nephilim, out-of-place artifacts. But when we look at that, the Octagon Mound is based on an 18-and-a-half-year lunar cycle. In other words, knowing that the moon has a pattern, but it doesn't repeat that pattern until 18-and-a-half years go by. Native Americans didn't know anything about that, in my opinion. If they did, where's the deerskin that shows it? Where's the oral tradition that talks about it? It's not there. We are looking at a managed agenda from people that don't want the truth to come out in some way, shape, or form. They say that these were the Hopo Indians, but they don't know what they actually call themselves. They'll say that things like, well, they just assimilated into the indigenous population, just like we hear down in Peru. Oh, the Inca were master stone builders. But the Incas say themselves, we didn't do this. It was here when we got here. We hear this over and over and over again. In the Darwinian paradigm and in modern-day archaeologists, there's no room for the supernatural world as we know it from the biblical prophetic narrative. People will believe in spiritual things, but not the supernatural, and certainly not anything to do with the biblical prophetic narrative. What's the truth? You tell me, what is the truth? If Native Americans didn't build the Octagon Mound, then who did? If the Inca weren't able to carve andesite stone with copper chisels, then how was Ollantaytambo, Sacsayhuaman, and Machu Picchu created? Folks, there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world. Please check us out. We've got 8 films in the series. What we've been talking about is in number 8, Out-of-Place Artifacts, and I think you'll find that absolutely fascinating. LAMarzulli.net, LAMarzulli.net, or if you just want to stream it, streaming.LAMarzulli.net. Thanks so much for watching. I'll say it again. Remember, there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucer. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazell was the man who discovered the saucer. Colonel William Blanchard of the Roswell Air Base refuses to give details of what the flying disc looks like.